After everything that has happened so far this season, all the tribes, churds, all in between, we are coming closer and closer to getting to the end of the regular season and setting the field of 16 for the A-squared playoff. Hello everyone, my name is Kevin Young, proud to bring you the Bluegrass 240, presented by 7 Bar Barbecue here at Kentucky Speedway, the home of ABN and a track favorite of chairwoman and president, Carmen Sienna. Obviously for me, that would be Watkins Glen, but for ABN as a whole, and her as well, this is a favorite track of hers and the home track, and it should bring on some great races. So as drivers get on board here right now, pull up the ticker and get everything situated here. We'll show you who's there. You'll see it from an old-time favorite coming back here tonight, Tom Sears in that Tropicana 14. He'll finish up his second run there and put the car P6 for his triples. Obviously, if you have been watching the Truck Series, you would have seen him, the High Octane Series on Twitch, ABN1 or ABN Studio Switch channel. You would have seen him race that, but he's back here again, lurking Tom Sears, maybe for a one-off here tonight at Kentucky. Right now at the moment, John Hagan is our pole sitter, and we'll see who else is on a run. Matthew Kent and Ross Baxter both seem poised to start their run, so we'll actually ride on board here with Matthew Kent as he's going to start his 2 flying laps here. One driver to keep an eye out for yet that has put down a time is Edward Marshall, as actually will go on board with the driver to 15 here to give us kind of a clue of what you got to do around Kentucky. But while I continue to talk, Edward Marshall is a driver to keep an eye out for here on his 2-lap average. He was the fastest in practice, so he could have some interesting speed here and could bring the trouble to John Hagan. Let's make sure as we get the sponsor over, and thank you to the sponsor here tonight. Just the top for sponsoring the qualifying session. Make sure we get their little logo on the top left, as they've been the proud sponsor for the past season and a half. Now, going to be 2 seasons by the end of this campaign of qualifying, as Matthew Kent finishes lap number 1, going to be 8th fastest. So we'll see what he can do on run number 2. So Kent and Baxter both going to come across to finish their second laps. Still yet to go are Brian Johnson, Bren Roberts, and Edward Marshall with 3 minutes to go here. So as we see right now, coming across the line, Matthew Kent, can he improve on his second run? He cannot, so it seems like the second lap will be the money lap here. We'll cut to Edward Marshall next and see what he can do here. 3 minutes to go. This will be his first 2 laps across the line. It looks like it may have been an invalidation, as it looks like it did not get scored, so we'll have to use the second lap around here. Going to have to beat John Hagan's 30-60 if he wants to have a chance here to put in a pole, and he will hit the wall again, so his lap will invalidate, so we'll cut to Bren Roberts. Good to see him back. Then number 84, and he will be driving up to nicely the P4, former president of 1MA, is now going to actually finish up on the first lap. It will not take a second, so we'll cut to Brian Johnson here in the 72. He's having a good run at Road America last week until he had to pull off. He'll come across the line. He will not improve, so he will stay P24. So at that point, that is pretty much all the cars right now at the moment putting on times. Only Cody Pennell and Tommy Withers have yet to set times here. So we'll see if they elect to go on. But right now, it will be John Hagan, who is the fastest car on track, and he will be leading us off to pole position. I guess while we do have the second, we'll make sure all the audio levels are good. We did a check beforehand, but we will just quickly double check. We turn this up just a hair and turn up this a hair too. That should make this a little bit nicer for the viewers at home's listening experience. So while we wait, we'll actually watch Edward Marshall. It looks like he's taking a couple extra practice laps here. So we'll let him drive around the track here with a minute and some change. Speaking of as well, with how little time left, any car were to leave pit lane, it is unlikely they would even make an attempt happen. So it looks like our field's pretty much set here, bearing any last-second shots. So let's see right now, Marshall trying to run the high line here in that 16. Now remember, Edward Marshall does have a victory. He won at the Brickyard, so he is already set into the playoffs, and we will go over the playoffs in just a minute here, as we do want to let qualifying finish up here. We'll use warm-up time to go over the playoffs, the scenarios, and what is shaking up in this penultimate round before we get to the cutoff round next week at Talladega. As Marshall will pull it in, it will be a very anticlimactic ending to qualifying here. John Hagan, as we'll see if he's up there, he is on pit lane right there. He will be our pole sitter, and he was going to be about a 10th clear of second fastest Seth Wanzing, with Gaiman, Roberts, and Dila your top 5 here. So as we wait this out here, we'll take a quick second, and we'll get situated onward, but we'll see you in warm-up in just about 10 seconds time. So as we now join you into warm-up here, we're just taking a last-second look at some information here. And as cars go on the track, we'll follow along with Seth Wanzing in that Valvoline 5 as we'll take a look at the playoffs here and see how it's shaking up with this being the penultimate round. So as you can see, popped under the screen here, we'll give you a quick index clue of how everything is shaking up. If your driver's name is in green, they are officially locked in. If their name is in blue, they are at the moment in the playoffs, but depending on how, obviously, if a win were to happen, someone in the red were to come out, or something else to change, they could easily fall out. And lastly, you got the drivers in red who will need either a win or point their way in to get in. So you can see right now the cut line right now at the moment is Joshua Battles and Dale Markowski. A 20-point swing is the difference after Battles had a better Road America than Markowski did. Now, there is one more note as well. If you look at the drivers with 13 in their starts, John Hagan, Blake Galloway, Dale Markowski, and Brian Johnson come to mind here. You have to make a maximum of 14 attempts throughout this round here in order to meet the 80% fresh requirement of starts to qualify for the playoffs. Obviously, looking into tonight, John Hagan obviously took pole position. Blake Galloway is here as well. And I believe Dale Markowski is as well, just confirming he is as well in his 33. So all 3 are here, so as long as they start next week at Talladega, obviously for the 2 I just mentioned before in Galloway and Hagan, they will not lose a spot in playoffs, thus the line will stay where it is at the moment with Joshua Battles unless we get a new winner. One more thing to note as well, as you can see on the screen as well, it is if we had to be with realistic odds, it's not that much far of a distance between Galloway, LaJoie, and Pinnell. Obviously, looking into the night, it's safe to assume Wanzing, Dixon, Oberstadt are pretty much clinched. They have met the points threshold. Obviously, we'll have to see if they can finish it out, but they pretty much almost clinched or pretty much nearly clinched on points. You can see maybe Gaiman, Adams, Kent, Vordon, and join that list, maybe even Galloway, depending on how they finish. They could extend themselves enough to get themselves in a spot to make the playoffs and clinch their way into tonight. But LaJoie on down, it's going to be a fight. Same thing on the reverse side. Pretty much Ross, Baxter on down are pretty much in the win and you're in scenario, while McDonough, Feemster, and Markowski could still theoretically point their way in if drivers like Battles, Pinnell, or LaJoie run into some troubles. So as we see now with 2 minutes to go on qualifying, as we were kind of watching throughout the action there, drivers are going to use this opportunity to pit stop, pit in, and pit out. Patrick Oberstadt, one of those drivers I was talking about, could clinch their way into the playoffs by points tonight with a good finish, is looking poised to have a good run here. Now, obviously, during a warm-up, drivers will take this opportunity, like we see here at 17 of Kevin Feemster, coming down pit lane, making sure to practice safely, make sure they don't speed. You don't want to get a unnecessary penalty and put yourself in a spot where you may take yourself out of contention. We'll see if anyone else is on a flyer right now or taking actual laps here. Jonathan Adams, you can see right now, making a move on Blake Galloway in the 05. Obviously, one rock at the Carolina Hurricanes paint scheme, the other one in the Congas machine as the 05 will come on in. Adams will continue on and make more laps. So we'll take the second real fast just to get everything adjusted here. So do not go anywhere. A minute to go here, and we will get ready for the main race. These drivers are looking competitive, fierce, and strong. So we'll take a look here at the information just to make sure we got everything correct with the stages here. Yep, we have 150 laps awaiting these drivers. 25 and 75 are these stages. They'll have 5 sets of tires for their advantage and a 50% fuel tank, as always. So as we get ready here just to finish up, again, Hagan, fastest in practice warm-up here and fastest qualifying. We'll see if he can keep that pace heading on into the race. So as drivers get ready to grid here, and if you are joining us here, thank you for joining us just in time for the Bluegrass 240, presented by 7 Bar Barbecue here at Kentucky Speedway. Drivers have 150 laps awaiting them, but as we do as a custom, we will go over the starting grid and see where all these 20 F7 drivers will line up on the starting grid. Starting off in first place, John Hagan and Seth Wansing. They'll make up row number 1. Obviously, Hagan, multiple-time winner, only winner in the playoffs with multiple victories. He'll be on the inside, with Seth Wansing still looking for his first win on the outside. Row number 2 will be Josh Gaiman and Bren Roberts. Gaiman found success here in other series in these next gens at Kentucky, but yet to find it here in the A-squared. We'll see what we can do with Roberts back in row number 2. Row 3, Mark Dila and Mike LaJoy. They'll make up row 3. Both drivers needing some good luck here in the playoff hunt. Row 4, Tom Sears, Colin McDonough. McDonough, another driver needing a good run here. Sears just here for the one-off. We'll see if he can put some good run in that signature 14. Matthew Kent and Matt Vordon. They'll make up row number 5 here. Row 6 will be Ross Baxter and Ethan Wood. Row number 7 will be Dale Markowski and Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence. Row number 8, Kevin Feemster and Chris Fleming. Row number 5, Brian Dixon and Ryan Pinnell. Row number 10, Joshua Battles and the 48 machine of Chris Burton. Row number 11, Patrick Oberstadt and Jonathan Adams. Row number 12, as I do click the wrong button there. Row 12 will be Blake Galloway and Brian Johnson. Row 13, Edward Marshall and Cody Pinnell. And row 14 will be Tommy Withers, bringing it up in the rear with Melvin Holland obviously being our steward and not taking place here tonight. So drivers only have 1 pace lap here to go on, and as you can see here on the machine of, I think that is Mark Dila, obviously rocking the red, white, and blue. It is here tonight, red, white, and blue favored schemery here, as obviously with the 4th of July being over the weekend, drivers will have this opportunity to run some patriotic schemes if they so choose. A couple drivers have taken that luxury, as we see here, obviously with the number 80 of Mark Dila and the red, white, and blue Miller Lite scheme. A few other drivers are also in some very patriotic schemes, so keep an eye on that throughout the starting grid. As we get ready to get this race, 150 laps, obviously stages being at lap 25 and 75. Obviously 5 sets of tires. Other than that, though, we'll see probably no pit stops in the first stage and at least 1 in the second and the third, as it has been a trend throughout this race. Obviously cautions and other things can change that quite dramatically. Pace car pulls on off. Let's get this show on the road, shall we? As they enter the Geico restart zone, green flag is out, and away we go for the Bluegrass 240. So as lap number 1 will be completed now, John Hagan will continue his run of domination here as he will lead the first lap. Gaiman will go second. Seth Wanzi, one of your big losers, will lose 2 spots there, falling down to 4th. And we already have some 3-wide action here playing out. Sears almost under pressure here from the 0-0. Matt Vordon almost looked like 3 wide, including Colin McDonough there. Just they battled just inside the top 10 here. As we'll be jumping around from angle to angle all night here, finding angles and finding battles. So we'll keep our Hawkeyes in the sky as we watch and encourage battles throughout the field. Hagen sets the fastest lap of the race, 30.84. As the field begins to separate out here. McDonough and Dila battling side by side here off the corner exit here. As the field becomes single file throughout. So Dila can make that move stick. As you keep an eye on this run, this track is maybe at 1.5 grooves here. Obviously the low line seems to be the preferred line, but drivers that are daring or bold can take their car up a little bit up a groove and try to run the middle or even the high groove to get their cars to stick. So most cars are obviously going to want to plant it right where you see the patriotic number 80 machine do right there. You want to get about right where that black part starts, but not fully down enough to arc it off into the corner. So as John Hagen comes off the corner here, he'll continue to lead his race and lead to lap number 5. We'll go a little bit further back as they look pretty much 2-3 wide when we cut away. There's Dale Markowski going to need a good run as he knows the goal and knows who he is running down in his battle. We need to finish ahead of Joshua battles here in order to ensure to get some good stage points. And actually, you can get some good points and make Talladega a pointable race. But they always teach about wire safety to make sure nothing crazy happens. We do see the first car get a little bit loose. It was that McDonald's machine. I'm trying to figure out who it was. Brian Johnson also a little bit loose as well as he cuts the grass there. As he comes back up on the track here. So no caution will be called. We'll take just a quick look and see what happened there. Obviously, it looks like Brian Johnson just got loose on his own and had no real impact in this situation. Hitting the buttons here. Yeah, he just gets loose on his own along with that McDonald's machine. So they both just kind of cut through the grass. So single car incidents for both, and obviously do not bring out a caution. Back to live action. Brian Johnson will have to come back behind the 8 ball here as the battle rages on. We'll cut back up a little bit up through the field here. Obviously, right now is Game, and now the second. Wanzing is recovered back to 3rd. As he's just here, Brendan Roberts. We'll cut back here, Markowski, as he's trying to make a move on Ross Baxter for 12th here. There's a little corner panel here as they will be side by side. Youngstown University driver just trying to get on the inside of that 22 Honeybee machine, or Lazy Bee Farms, I should go by the correct sponsor. Get clear. So put the 33 up a spot and put Baxter back down to 13th, but obviously Baxter not going to go away. So while we watch this, we'll go on board here with Ryan Pinellas. He's got a pretty good seat to watch this action unfold. Obviously Pinella, another driver that needs a good run here. At the very least wants to get some stage points and ensure that he can at least give himself a little extra cushion going to Dega, as if we were to see a new winner this tonight or next week at Talladega, the line would move up to Pinnell, and thus he would be the most in jeopardy. It's what could be the final season of the number 12. But we were hearing, at least in the rumor mill, that could be the case. But obviously, at least for full-time competition. Go up a little above the road here for the battle for 9th. As Kent and Sears battling out here. Obviously, Sears' last car in on stage points at the moment. Sears, that does not really matter, as he's driving pretty much a lone entry, privateer entry, probably for line power, as he is just here for the fun of it in that Tropicana machine. We'll cut up a little bit up here, back to the pack here. Obviously, this is the second position Josh Gaiman, as he is right now about a second and some change, as we'll show the up-to-speed graphic here. 1.3 seconds is the gap between Hagen and Gaiman. At times right now, it's now 1.4 seconds, and looking at last laps, Hagen was slightly faster, tick faster than Gaiman, 31.49 to a 31.53. So we'll take note of that as they come around here again to see if any time is gained. But as you can see on the ticker, looks like maybe Gamer was a little bit faster, maybe a washout here. So come across the line, 31.37 for Hagen, 31.42 for Gaiman, so I will eat crow. But worth noting, fastest car on the track at the moment was not those two. Actually, it was Brent Robertson going to get a little help from the toe, Seth Lunt, with a 31.25. Keep an eye on this. We're going to go a little bit further back. Ethan Wood here, you can see in the middle of this mortgage board. Markowski now 11th. Right now, Wood under pressure from Ross Baxter. He's got last stage point here between Sears and Kent. He's going to get the elbows out here, going to fight like crazy. You do not want to leave points on the table if you can help it. Ooh, looks like Dealer may have just hit the wall just a tiny bit there. Had to take evasive action. That's going to fall him into this little pack here. Actually, we will select to do that right now here. We'll go gearbox right here on Dela. He's got a pretty good view of the stack up behind him. As he sits in ninth as that Bucky's number 15, I should say, is trying to get in here and make a challenge. Keep an eye on this, as obviously this time by as Hagel will cross the line. We'll have 11 laps to go here in the stage. It can still change here. Obviously battles out of caution where it fly. Even change up. Some drivers will be willing to maybe flip the stage here to try to put themselves in a better spot for stage 2. Keep an eye on this, but I was getting a little bit closer up the field. You can see up here as well, full of Joy and Verdun. So we're kind of cutting through battle and battle here. They were about to be side by side, but you see all this almost crescendoing to a climax as Kent is going to get clear here, put him up to 9th. And now Sears is going to try to follow suit and make it a top 10 run. Well, actually, right again, back on the Georgia Bulldogs, number 12, Orion Pinellas. He's got a pretty great seat here. He's got a great view of what he's seeing here. Dela just trying to hang on, maybe overcooked his tires just a little bit. He's now feeling the pressure of that. Obviously, being such a short run, if you're dealing with this fall off quite significantly, you could be in a little bit of trouble. Maybe at the same point, it hit the wall, maybe cause a little bit of light damage, maybe it bent the steering wheel a little. That could also have an effect as well as Sears will now get clear, so put Sears to 9th. Now Mark Dela, last driver in on stage points. We're going to go back up to where we were watching. Verdun getting very close on the back of LaJoy. Absolutely got around LaJoy. So Verdun now in the top 5 as he sets his sights further up. Anyway, you are not missing anything up front. John Hagen has opened up a 1.6-second gap to Josh Gaiman with Wanzing and now Verdun and Roberts battling here as Verdun is finding some late run speed here in the stage. And that number, Hello Kitty 00. Further back, Markowski, obviously right now with battles and trouble, 3 laps down. This is a good chance for Markowski to do something, and he will get clear. So put now Markowski at 10th, Baxter in 11th, as you not good day if you're Mark Dela, as he's beginning to sink, and he is smacked in the middle here. Adams, Fleming, Feemster, all going to go around here. So he's gone from position number 8 all the way down to 18, so he's lost 10 spots, a little over 2 laps. Way up the road, you saw the Carvana 48 of Chris Burton. Get it back low, but that was a very unorthodox line, just trying to find that little extra time here. Back up a little bit, Adams going to try to rip it around here. Edward Marshall trying to rip and ride here on that inside line, number 16. Adams will be clear, now Fleming and Marshall are going to duke it out here for 15th. Right now, battles play out. Marshall again trying to charge forward. We see in the chat here, obviously, Brandon fed the place, obviously owner of Bowie Esports. Sadly could not be on the track here tonight, as he was definitely a track he had circled, but again, with his win, he's locked in. Now, obviously has also met the eligibility requirement, so he has no concern of playoffs. And obviously, though, shame he's not on the track, but he'll definitely more than likely be here next week for Talladega as we see LaJoie get around Roberts. So Roberts also struggling with some long-term pace as well. So we're going to go back to what we're watching. We're just jumping from angle to angle here. We'll actually keep an eye on this, but we're going to go back up the second as now we see Saffron Wanzing. He's been hounding the back of Gaiman for the last 10 laps. We've been watching it. He's going to try to make a late run here on the driver with the 61, maybe get up the second. Obviously, Gaiman was a podium finisher last week, was battling Seth Wanzing for what would have been the final podium, but ended up having some slight mistakes. Wanzing with a speeding penalty, and that took him out of contention for podium honors. Now going to try to make a challenge here for second in the stage, as they will duke it out. Next time by, pit lane will be officially closed, so no drivers can come in even if they wanted to. Obviously, no one will more than likely not come in, as you will go a lap down if you were to take service. Everyone will wait till the end of the stage. Obviously, stage will end once the 10th place car comes across the finish line here next time by. So white flag in stage number 1. Wanzing going to try to make a move here on the low side of Gaiman. Question is, can he make it stick, and can he get it to stick? He will get clear, so he will get clear. We'll see if Gaiman can come through the over-under. Hagen about to cross the line and should do it now, but we're going to stay on this battle for second here, as this is going to be a photo finish. Gaiman going to come across the line. I think they're going to give him second here as you'll see Wanzing back it down. We'll go back to Dale Markowski as he will also come across the slit, across the line here as well. Unless I've made a boo-boo here, it should have been the end of the stage, unless they're waiting to the end here. There we go. A little bit delayed call, but they will go call it now. So, obviously, stage ended as they crossed the line, but waited for everyone to cross the line there, I assume. So, Hagen will take stage victory, and as they get reorganized here, we'll take a look at the stage results for stage number 1. Hagen will take the victory in stage 1 with Gaiman in second, Wanzing in third. Matt Verdon, your biggest gainer, as he will go from 10th to 4th. Mike LaJoie will take 5th place honors, McDonough 6th, Robert 7th, Kent 8th, Sears 9th, and Dale Markowski with an all-crucial last stage point as he will finish 10th and bring that gap down from 20 points to 19. So pit lane officially open right now. All 25 of our cars, our 26 cars took the flag. 25 cars are on the lead lap. Only Battles is 3 down. Since Battles is the only car 1 down, he should get the lucky dog here this time by. We'll get back to 2 laps down. Obviously, with the longer stages, though, he's going to have to hope for maybe a quick caution here to try to get it. But his pit lane is now becoming officially crowded. Take an eye on pit lane exit and see if anyone's virtual crews can get the job done and get them out ahead of the rivals. So we'll go to that angle right there. So keep an eye. Obviously, there you'll see Battles on the track getting his lap back. Now put him 2 down. Obviously, everyone will more likely be taking 4 tires in fuel. He will probably not see much take a risk here and take anything else. Speaking of Battles as well, now being 2 down, he's going to probably want to hope for a quick caution, because if anyone gets put a lap down in the second stage, that could put him in a position where he may not get another lap back. Crew races out here, and the first one off is going to be John Hagen. Gaiman will come home second. Verdon's crew will get the big win there. He'll get the driver up to third. Wanzing, LaJoie, Kent, Roberts, McDonough, Sears, Oberstadt going to be your top 10 as we'll just watch everyone else file out here. But it is a long stop for Mark Dila, the driver of the number 80. So we were kind of speculating maybe he had some damage that could have affected that machine, causing him to sink. And it does look like that hood maybe a bit concaved in. Obviously, we don't have really a close angle. We'll see if we can actually maybe find an angle here. I think that was just part of the scheme, but it did look a little bit out. Now away he goes after 47 seconds, so he could have even been busted for a penalty. But he will now fly away, now down in the 24th. Jonathan Adams also with a lengthy repair on pit lane. Obviously, leader's coming around here right now, so we'll keep an eye on Adams, but that clock is already pushed up to about 1 minute and 20 seconds. Yeah, there's no sign of him beating the 10 count here, so he will now officially go 1 down. As Battles will also come down pit lane to get fuel and tires. So obviously odd for Adams to have some trouble here as we now hit the 1 to go, so we will catch the start of stage number 2 just in 1 lap's time. Obviously, with less cars being lapped down, we can get through this motion a lot quicker. Obviously, with that trouble, Adams was 51 points coming into the night. If he were to get last place billings, it wouldn't be awful, but he would lose a lot of that cushion and be in the danger zone possibly coming into Talladega next week. Not the danger zone per se, but could be in a spot if we get a new winner or if he gets in some trouble, it could put him in a position where he does not want to be. So Hagen Gaiman will make up row 1, Verdon Wanzing row 2, Kent LaJoy row 3, Roberts McDonough row 4, Oberstadt Steers your first 5 rows. Base car pulls off. Control will be on John Hagen here as every restart after the initial one will be on control of the leader. Green flag is out and away we go, and Gaiman has spun the tires right in front of Wanzing. That is going to be a caution here, and we'll get through the gearbox, see if anyone else is involved. Kent involved. Looks like a few other cars. Dale Markowski, he is also involved. And Cole Tires has taken out at least a couple drivers here. Matthew, the 17 of Kevin Feemster, the 38 of McDonough. He was also involved as well. See him getting up to speed. Also, we talked about Seth Wanzing. Obviously, this car looks okay in comparison, but it will put him at least further back than we would like to be. And we talked about this the last time we were in Oval. Cole Tires have caught on a lot of drivers this season, and now it has struck Josh Gaiman. So we'll take a look here. Obviously, this is at the point of impact, so we're going to have to rewind manually. Actually, I think we can... Yeah, hold on. I think we can actually get there in just a second here. So, yeah, there we go. So we'll go do another replay here. And we're just going to watch it from TV2 here. This is going to give us a good angle to see how many cars were collected. But obviously, we saw it with our own eyes. It's just spun the tires. So into the zone. There goes Hagen, and the car just, kicks right in front of Wanzing. Kent gets it done. That shoots Kent around. Markowski, I think, gets hooked by maybe Baxter inadvertently. Withers obviously nowhere to go as well. So we'll take a second look. This time we'll get on board with the 5, and we'll go on board with the 5 here. So again, keep an eye on that 61 again up front. Yeah, just kicks left, hooks right, just nowhere to go. Pretty much becomes a car park. 2 more looks. This time we'll take a look at this time on board with the 33 at Dale Markowski, as this could have playoff implications. Obviously, he was outside in that row. There's the checkup. Driver's trying to scramble. Yeah, he just gets on Baxter there, and he gets in the Ryan Pennell too. Brian Johnson has taken voice face of action. We'll get hip check. Feemster will also get hooked there as well. We'll take one more look. This time we'll get inside the cockpit of Gaiman. And as you can see, obviously both drivers in 1. There's obviously John Hagen for retrospect. And we'll just play it out here for the driver of the 61. Try to get that better launch in first gear. There's second. There's the kick. And at that point, the egg on the face moment. But luckily, in the grand scheme of things, could have been a lot worse for Gaiman, as he luckily gets out through it pretty much unscathed, other than a bruised ego. So we come back up towards the front. That will promote Matt Verdon up to second. Blake LaJoy will be in third. A couple cars will elect to come in. Colin McDonough, obviously there, along with Matthew Kent. Dale Markowski and Kevin Feemster will all come in. Battles got the lucky dog. He'll get to 1 lap down. So he is in a prime position to get back on the lead lap, and now with Markowski having some trouble, this could put him in a prime spot to try to get that gap closed for Black Acid Racing. Edward Marshall will also like to come in here as the pace car gets caught up to the line here. Maybe getting a bit off sequence. But as now we officially got the one to go, Hagen Vordon will now be our front row with Roberts, LaJoy, Oberstadt, Sears, Pinnell, Fleming, Galloway, Dixon going to be your first 5 rows. Pace car pulls off. Control will be on John Hagen as we will get this show on the road again, hopefully with no spin tires. Green flag is out, and away we go. Not for the start of stage number 2, but for hopefully the first clean lap of stage number 2. Oh, we see cars spinning around as we were going to wait there. It looked like Mike Joy gets loose there. Tom Sears will be evasive action. Roberts also going to fall as well. Take your eyes off the prize, and you will see things kind of shake away there as it will be a major battle here as cars swarm. We'll take a look at it in just a second. We do want to let these drivers kind of get situated out here before we pull back and see what exactly happened there. Did a car go deep or something? Obviously, Roberts and LaJoy both are flighting sideways there to head off to that corner. So as the cars are getting the fan out here, we'll see if we can quickly find it. So we can't, it's no skin off the bones, but we do want to at least try to find it for the viewer at home. I think it's right here, so we'll take a quick look, see what exactly happened. Obviously, there's LaJoy and Roberts. Obviously, trying to close my map there. There we go. Obviously, you can kind of see the components of what happened. But it looks like Roberts tried to make a move here. Gets right in the corner panel of the 29 LaJoy. That shoots them both up the road. LaJoy saves it. Roberts, on the other hand, not so lucky. He'll keep it going in the right direction, but end up losing more spots than he probably wanted. He's going to fall way outside the top 10. Back to live action. Oh, Patrick Oberstadt stuck up onto the wall there. Very odd place to get stopped. So he gets stuck, but he will continue on, but he will fall to the tail end of the pack. Now we wonder if he's got any major damage on that 60. So we'll take a second as we watch him. We'll cut back and do a quick race reset here. Hagen, Vordon, Sears have pulled a blanket statement away about a second to Blake Galloway in 4th. After that, though, it is pretty much a battle of park here. Is 5th on back are all pretty much 2 by 2 almost, as they are all under a blanket here. So right now we're watching the battle for 11th as Gaiman is trying to make a move on Chris Burton. Obviously, Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence, last car in, he's the one rocking that McDonald's 47. As Burton gets up there up the groove, Gaiman going to try to clear here. Still side by side. Still are side by side, heading off into 1. They get fanned out here. We'll go up just a tiny bit. Seth Wansing going to try to make a move on Ryan Pinnell. Obviously, Wansing was involved in that earlier caution. Elected to come down to tap up the machine, make sure it was okay. still sit behind Ryan Pinnell here. See right there, drivers still battling out. LaJoy, Galloway, is just up the road. Just adjusting the camera here. Just up the road, Brian Dixon going to try to battle here. We got Galloway right now side by side with LaJoy. Fleming was able to get around Galloway. As you can see, as we maybe right on board here in just a second. We're actually right on board here with Seth Wanzen. You can see it is a long way to the top three, as they have pretty much checked out. 2 seconds is the gap from right now leader of this train, Chris Flemings, to Tom Sears. So you can see Galloway on the high side right now, Dixon on the low side, Pinnell there on the low side. Wanzi going to use that to his advantage. Try to clear. We're seeing if we can get a good angle there, but we don't have a panning camera. So we're going to have to go back to live action. Right there, gets clear with Pinnell to put Wanzi up to 8th. Further back, Cheeseburger Lawrence here under pressure from Dale Markowski, who's done a fine recovery so far, has gotten his machine back up 13th. As he is slowly climbing his way back up the leading order. Obviously, a shame not to see him no longer in the Bob's Burgers paint, but obviously hopefully that the McDonald's can give him a little extra luck. Seth Wanting still going on the prowl here. We know he's got a top 2 to 3 car right now, at least by first stage standards. Trying to get the low side of Galloway. Runs him up the road a little bit. Obviously, the Bowie Esports driver not going to be more thrilled about that. Obviously, both keep pointing the right direction, but as close as you like. Slowly side by side here. Dixon trying to drive off, obviously with Brandon gluing on in the chat, hoping his driver can hang on, but Wanzing going to get clear. We'll see if, though, Dixon can over under him as they head off into the next corner. Wanzing thinking about throwing a block here. Dixon thinking about it, just can't fully get committed, so he'll slot back in line right now as he will fall down to 8th. Further up the road, we're keeping an eye on Fleming and LaJoy as well. Go on board with Michael Joy and the Milwaukee machine. Good eye there by Featherplace. Looks like someone has spun. See if you can find a name. Looks like it was Cheeseburger Lawrence, as he's now down pit lane right there. So it looks like Lawrence is the in. So we saw the puff of smoke, but obviously we'll take a look just to see in a second if he ended up hitting anything or if he just came in on a tow. Looks like Josh Gamos also may have had an incident as well in his 61. He is a little bit behind the 8 ball, so we'll take a look here to see what happened to Josh Gaiman. Obviously, he was right. Okay, that maybe explains what happened here, as both drivers are side by side. So quick look back to see what happened. Lawrence got into Gaiman. Gaiman trying to save it, trying to save it, trying to save it, just can't. And it looks like Lawrence is just going to come on in. So interesting to say, could be considered maybe 2 cars, but stewards will not call that a caution as we head back to live actions. Now, Gaiman has all gone wrong from here in stage number 2. As you all see, Lawrence now leaving the pit lane. He will now go 1 down. So here's John Hagan, race leader at the moment. 1.64 ahead of Matt Fordon in second. Just want to do a quick update. Tom Sears getting in the fall, getting real in Matt Fordon in second, though. Gap is about 7/10. Other than that, though, it is pretty much still a fight to the tooth and nail here further back, as Lawrence will blend in right around Fleming and Mike LaJoy. Just inside Fleming. So drivers begin to battle it out here. You see right there, a little further back, Ryan Pinnell. Pressure here from Dale Markowski. Pinnell in 9th, Markowski in 10th. open up a bit of a gap, though, to Matt Kent, who's in 11th. You can see right there about half a second. Up the road as well, you can see Seth Wanting has gotten around Brian Dixon, as we obviously alluded to, but still trying to move forward here. Speaking of right there, you can see it just up the road. Wanting to try to go low here on Galloway. Drive off. Can you get the move done here? He will get it done. So put Wanting now up 6th. Galloway will fall down to 7th. And we've seen this battle week in and week out between Galloway and Dixon. It looks poised. They will continue this battle here, at least for the time being. We'll go a little bit further back in the field here. Mark Dilo going a bit slow. Obviously, one pit stop presumably does loom here in the second stage. And it looks like Dila maybe elected to come in early here. We'll see if it's scheduled or we'll see if it's unscheduled, but he is now officially in. We'll see if he, again, is doing the undercut because the tires weren't there or if he's getting to struggle here. Kevin Feemster looks like he also did not come in. He's also struggled somewhere, had an incident of choice. As he will now officially go one down and will join the likes of Battles, Cheeseburger Lawrence, and now Mark Dila being one down. We stay on this battle here. Actually, we see just further back, Matthew Kent challenging Ryan Pinnell here for last points in the stage here. Obviously, Matthew Kent, driver that is well above the line, but does not want to really put things to chance here, is going to put out a fight. Right now, at the very least, Pinnell will pull off as Kent, obviously we saw on track, elect to come in here. The pit lane looks officially open here. Question is, out of the major runners, obviously the top 5, maybe top 10, who will elect to blink in second. Obviously, it looks like Ryan Pinnell is also signifying, at least I thought he was. He went way low on the groove, but yeah, he is in along with Ethan Wood. So pit window's officially open. Dale Markowski also way conservative on the brakes. And that's going to be a time gain for Pinnell if Pinnell didn't end up speeding. So pit lane officially open. We'll pull up the nice pit road graphic here we have. Obviously 4 cars like to come in that time by. Obviously that will fill up as drivers do elect to come in. Question is really going to come down to when. See if anyone elects to come in this time by. Blake Galloway will as well, so he will now join the pit road drivers here as he will come in as well, give up his top 10 running spot. So looking at that information, obviously had one caution there, but indicative to note, could probably make it about, we'll say 25 laps, give or take, maybe upwards of 30, obviously when our main runners come in, obviously they could be coming in a bit early trying to split the stage, so we do know stage ends at lap 75. Let me just double check, make sure that number is correct, and something I've been mistaken. Yep, 75 is the end of stage number 2, so obviously looking to double up, get some fresh tires, and try to go for the undercut. Speaking of drivers going the undercut, Matt Fordon is in as well. He will give up second spot. We'll try to use this to catch up to John Hagan here. Obviously, the question is, will Hagan elect to try to cover this off here? Looks like he will elect to stay out, so Hagan will stay out for his troubles. He'll go a little bit longer. Obviously, with the big enough gap he had, he feels like this is his best choice of action. Bren Roberts going to come in this time by. So pulling off here. Obviously, you can make it to 60. Obviously, with a little help of a caution, you can go 30 laps. We obviously know some drivers really like to really go long in the tooth here. Just finding battles here, trying to keep an eye on drivers who we think are going to pit next. Looks like Hagan will stay out another lap. Now Ross Baxter reeling in the back of Tommy Withers. This is for what will be at the moment 9th. Obviously, depending on how it cycles out, could change. There's Brian Johnson. He will come on in. He'll give up his 8th spot. Patrick Oberstadt will leave. Already 1 down, so he will now go, I think, 2 now. The closest thing we have on track right now is this 3-car battle we're watching, but John Hagen is now in hard on the brakes. You can see him locking it up. We'll see if that may be a penalty or not, as he was full lock as he came sliding in. Fleming also in as well, along with Brian Dixon, so they are all in. We'll keep an eye on John Hagen. As Tom Sears, we know he loves to go long in these stages and in these races. He loves to pull the long strategy here, and he is going to do that as he so fits. So obviously he is not at any risk of trying to get stage points here. He wants to check the flag or nothing. It looks like he'll stay out 1 more lap. We're going to keep an eye on John Hagen here just to see if he timed it right or did he get busted for speeding. Clock over 16 seconds, and I think he did get busted for speeding. 18, 19, 20. Yep, he got caught for speeding here, and that is crucial. That will be a 45-second hold for what was our race leader, as he's now going to go at the very least 1 down, and now he's going to have a run here to try to get back on the lead lap. This could open the door for the likes of Sears and Vordon to try to put a challenge here. Speaking of Tom Sears, he is yet to come in along with our top 8. They have yet to make the pit stop here in the stage. Obviously, looking at the distance, we have over 15 laps to go, which is not probably a hittable number. He's really been clutching and saving even then. I still don't think it's possible. Ross Baxter in. He will come on in, giving us now 7 runners yet to pit. When it does cycle out at the moment, we assume Matt Vordon will take the lead. But we did see Tom Sears run down Vordon a little bit, close the gap. So if Sears were just to take a splash and go here, depending on how much time is lost or gained, as Vordon only took 2 for his troubles, it could open the door. Burton also in as well. He will come on in, give up 6th position. While we watch these battles, we'll cut onto a battle for what is actually on track between Chris Fleming and Brian Dixon. Not sure how they will cycle at the moment with stage points, as obviously drivers will still get the pit. Maybe some will be daring enough to try to come on and take an extra lap. Worth noting, Sears, LaJoy, Withers, McDonough, and Marshall all came at the caution at lap 30. Sears, the only driver not to do that, coming in at lap 26, which was the end of stage number 1. Car way over there on the line. It wasn't Chris Burton, it was Colin McDonough. Way out of shape, but he'll keep it pointing in the right direction. We stay green. He will join along with Mike LaJoy. So the cars came in at 30. So you can probably make about 33 laps on 1 tank. Tom Sears now officially giving out, going the longest of the drivers that came in at the stage break. And he is now officially in. Wansing will go another lap here and will lead a lap for his troubles. So when they come by next time by, we'll have 11 laps to go. Actually, 10 laps to go, as they obviously end on 75, not going to 75, past 75. So we'll have 10 laps to go with Wansing presumably cross the line this time by. He's on the low side of the apron. We'll see if the hand is out the window. It is, so Lawrence will grip around here, try to get at least one of his laps back. That leaves Withers and Marshall. Withers is in this time by. Edward Marshall obviously came in 1 extra lap later. Not going to be enough really to stay out longer. That 1 extra lap shouldn't be enough to make it to 75, but at the very least maybe try to lead a lap, but looks like he will come on in as well. But looking at the blend here, it's going to be close. Sears going to come on out, and he will pretty much take the de facto lead in this race. He did take fuel only, so he is on the same old tires. For Don, worth noting as well, Gaiman is not battling for position. Gaiman is, at the moment, trying to get his lap back. So actually, sorry, Edward Marshall will stay out 1 more lap, so he's still the race leader at the moment. But race is on for the Stage 2 victory here between Vordon and Sears. Sears on old tires. Only came in for fuel. Vordon took 2. Only driver to take 4 was Dale Markowski, currently sitting in 7th. And obviously, again, still no sign yet of Marshall coming in. He's got about a 10-second gap as we do the up speed here. 9.6 seconds is the gap. Depending on the time Sears makes, look at last time by for respective. Edward Marshall did a 32.31. Tom Sears did a 31.37. So at the pace, if Marshall can save the fuel while shaving off a second, he could be in the catbird seat to win the stage. But I don't like the odds he can make it still. Maybe he's going long for a caution here, trying to flip it, but he is still staying out at the moment. So keeping eye on Sears, obviously Gaiman trying to get his lap back. Or if Gaiman were to get his lap back, John Hagen would be the first car to end one down and thus would be the lucky dog. So at the moment, if you're a John Hagen fan, you're hoping Gaiman can get clear of Tom Sears. At the same point, if you want to try to make this chaotic for Hagen, who would have to try to take the wave around and then be on an off strategy, you're hoping right now Gaiman stays behind. So there's a bit of an incentive. Try to hold up Gaiman if you want to try to keep Hagen put on a bad strategy here, but Gaiman obviously doesn't want to take the risk. He's going to try to make a move here. Vordon as well, trying to make a move. Obviously, Gaiman took 4 tires, so he has the fresh tires when he came in the earliest. So he's going to go low side here. Again, no pit yet for Edward Marshall, so we are assuming, by the way, that this would put Gaiman back on the lead lap if he were to get around Tom Sears, but there is no confirmation yet. And battle for second in the stage at the moment. Marshall again, if he can make it. We can see if he can pull it out here. Battle for second in the stage. Could be the stage victory if Marshall can't make it work on fuel. They will be side by side here. Obviously, Vordon has the fresher tires. And Edward Marshall's now officially pit, so this is going to be for the stage victory. Vordon, Sears still by side here. Vordon will lead that lap. They will catch some lap traffic in Cheeseburger Lawrence just up the road. I think that is Cheeseburger Lawrence. It looks like his machine. Yep, it is. We do see some things in the chat. We'll cover it in just a second. Don't worry. We want to make sure we keep this battle and keep it in laser focus. Vordon going to get clear. He will get clear. So put Vordon now up to first. Sears now down to second. Does Sears have anything on those tires? We'll have to see. Obviously, he took the gamble for the track position. We'll see right now if he's got anything left to try to chase it down. Coming back to the line, we'll have 4 to go in the stage. Takes opportunity to quickly do some renaissance here. Blake Galloway currently sitting in 4th, and obviously looking at the chat right now, I was hoping for a Seth Wansing dub. They got this live on in Midwest Barbecue. Shout out to them, putting this up on the big screen. Give him a little bit of Seth Wansing for the troubles here as he's currently sitting in 3rd, trying to finish 3rd in stage number 2. So as they battle it out here, trying to finish it up here, Wansing hanging up on the low side. Trying to hang on the 3rd. Galloway going to get cleared by Bren Roberts, putting Roberts up to 4th. Galloway down to 5th as we speak. Edward Marshall just set the fast lap of the race, as he's now, I believe, not in the lucky dog spot, but trying to maybe chase it down here. As you can see him right there battling in traffic. Obviously, Hagen way up the road here. He's going to have to try to fly like a devil to try to get there, but unlikely at the moment to get himself back on the lead lap. But as Vordon comes here through the trial, we'll have 1 to go in stage number 2. Right now, also last driver in on stage points is Brian Dixon. Got a healthy gap to Tommy Withers. 1.4 seconds is the gap, so he is more than poised to get the last stage point here. Wansing trying to hang on from former teammate Bren Roberts here. Both on the same strategy. Wansing took a fuel-only stop. Roberts took 2. We saw this play out a couple laps ago with Vordon and Sears. But as we watch this battle out, Vordon is going to come across the trialable and take the stage 2 victory right there. Cut back to Roberts. Roberts not going to have enough, so it's going to be Vordon, Sears, Wansing, Roberts. So wait for the rest of the file on through here. Brian Dixon going to come through the trial here, and that will end stage number 2. Looks like LaJoy will just get around Pinnell there, even though it will not be for points. It will be 1 extra spot coming over the pit lane. So as we see them get cycled up here and get regrouped, we will take a look at the stage 2 results here. Matt Vordon on the back of Hagen having some trouble will take stage 2 glory, with Tom Sears coming up in 2nd, trying the strategy to go long and take the fuel only. it just wasn't enough. Wansing third, Roberts fourth, Galloway fifth, Markowski sixth, Fleming seventh, Kent eighth, Ross Baxter ninth, and Brian Dixon getting the last stage points, finishing it off in P10. Again, like also like to thank you again for Midwest Barbecue putting this live in their shop up on the screen. Obviously, we'll see if Wansing can bring it home for the honors, but obviously still have a ways to go here as we just entered the final stage. So pit stops now officially open. Everyone will come on in. Obviously, some drivers that went late took 2, took 4. So some drivers are going to have an extra fresh set of tires they can use. Others may only have 2 tires, so we'll have to keep an eye on that going into the final stage. But pit lane officially opened. Hagan will get the lucky dog. Marshall on back will have to take the wave around to get back on the lead lap. So we'll take just a second here. Watch the race off pit lane. Whose virtual crews can get the job done? So as they come off the line here, who's going to get the job done first? It's going to be the Tropicana machine of Lime Power. They are going to get their crew done first. He is going to win the race off pit lane. Verdon, Roberts, Wansing, Galloway, Markowski, Kent, Fleming, Baxter, Withers. Going to be your top 10 as you see the rest file on off. McDonough, obviously still a little long length repair here. Ryan Pinnell also was kind of struggling coming to the end of the stage. We'll see here if he is okay to continue on. And yep, there he will go. Marshall, Burton, and Oberstadt. Yep, we'll have Brian Johnson, Patrick Oberstadt, and Edward Marshall taking the wave around here. Only Edward Marshall will get back on the lead lap with this wave around. Patrick Oberstadt and Brian Johnson will get one of their laps back. But that will put Brian Johnson to 1 lap down and Patrick Oberstadt to, I think 4 down, 3 if I'm not mistaken, when he gets the wave around this time by. Obviously, Marshall coming in the latest, this will actually not be the worst detrimental to him as he pushed the longest. And there goes Patrick Oberstadt there as well. So as we get regrouped, Tom Sears will be taking the flag here with Matt Verdon in second. Roberts Wansing will make up row number 2. Galloway Markowski, row 3. Kent, Fleming, row 4. Baxter and Withers will be your first 5 rows here. Again, thank everyone for tuning in here for the A Squared Cup Series live on ABN Studios for the Bluegrass 240 presented by 7 Bar Barbecue, as they've been one of our title sponsors throughout this season. When we get the green here, we'll have 19 cars on the lead lap. Edward Marshall being the last of the lead lap drivers, with 25 cars still running. Only retirement at the moment is Jonathan Adams, who pulled it off after stage number 1. Obviously, looking at this final stage, Tom Sears, John Hagan, who's had one of the strongest cars tonight, will have a lot of work to do to get back into this. Meanwhile, Tom Sears looking in the part-time schedule to take the checker flag. Matt Verdon looking to get a victory. You know, he is in the playoffs at the moment. Would love to get that win and get him those extra bonus points along with Seth Wansing. Keep an eye on Markowski as well. A win he gets could shake this all up. Green flag is out, and away we go to start the final stage. To come here to the trioval right there, Seth Wansing pushing the back of Brandon Roberts, and Sears will lead that lap.
to rip around the high side here. Cars beginning to fight and try to battle it out here. Wansing looking to split the middle here. Can't fully get it done. Roberts, though, will get clear. That's the wrong button. There we go. Roberts will get clear for second. Wansing thinking about doing something here. Will go on board here with Galloway. He's got a pretty good seat right now at the moment. Cars fighting for position, fighting for track 4. Don will lose 2. Now Wansing looking to try to get on the inside of Roberts. Roberts fully can't get there. Roberts will hang on at least for now. Well, you can see behind Galloway, Matthew Kent, Dale Markowski. They'll fight it out here for 6th. Oh, look at that. Way down the trial there. Fleming trying to find as much of the track as he can elect to take. Way down the groove there, just trying to rip and ride it. To get every last inch he can. Side by side, Fleming is with Markowski. We'll keep an eye on this for now, but there are other battles beginning to brew. You can see ahead and behind us. Including right now for our race, second battle for second position. Wansing going to get clear. Roberts heading it off into the corner. He's now put Wansing up to second. We'll go back to Fleming and Markowski here. Risk assessment is key if you're Markowski. You obviously want to keep as many spots as you can, but at the same point, with battles still being at least 2 down, you are looking for a good gaggle of points here tonight if you can finish where you finish. So you don't want to end up putting yourself behind the ball. You want to make it a pointable distance, or at the very least, give yourself a chance. When the Talladega, but Fleming way loose on the apron. He'll save it, but he'll cause a checkup here. Hagen going to try to be most aggressive on that rip and ride. He's going to make it an advantage of his. Going to get clear, make it 2 spots. Now going to try to get around Withers. It's an all blue light special. And Hagen was the main competitor. You can see also Mike LaJoy loose in the distance, and they are still getting a little bit loose here. Ethan Wood going to get around, so checkup caused caused a spin. It caused a checkup and caused a light spin. As the big losers are going to be Ethan Wood, Mike LaJoy, and Chris Fleming, as they're going to lose him over time here, as they will drop back. Go back up a little bit up through the field here. Withers right now hounding the back of Hagen as Hagen got clear. So the gap for our race lead is getting a little bit closer. About half a second right now. Sears is still putting down good times. Last time by, though, he was not the fastest. Fastest in the top 5 was actually Matthew Kent, who currently sits in 5th. The top 5 pretty much running dead even. Running similar times to John Hagen as well. But obviously Hagen dealing with a little bit of traffic. A little bit further back, Markowski hanging on the back of Galloway. Try to rip it around the high side here. Right, they're still on the low side here, just trying to find what he can do on that low groove. Galloway still holding tough, though, on that high side. They are keeping an eye on the intervals to the lead. It is growing a little between Sears, but Roberts is hounding the back of Wansing, but we stay on this battle for now. It is one of the closest things we have on the track at the moment. Right there, you can see John Hagen and Josh Gaiman, 2 drivers you could say were battling for the lead in stage number 1, now battling for what is positionally P10. Hagen right now going to get clear, but Gaiman not going to go away, but you see a little snap there from Gaiman's car, and he's now going to have to give up that spot. So as we see right now, cars still battling it out, battling for position. Keeping an eye on this top 10 battle, we're going to go back up to our race leader. Give Tom Sears some love here as he is still holding strong as he will hit lap 90. Next time by, we'll have 60 laps to go in this race. Obviously, a pit stop still looms, and looking at how long drivers were able to push it, they're going to try to get to maybe, this is where the math comes in, is we're going to be at 60 next time by. And they've already done about 15 laps when we get there. So another 15 would put them like 106. That's not going to be enough to get comfortably in the next window, so there will be probably some saving here. Try to see drivers go as long as they can. Further back, John Hagan trying to be on the prowl here. Making up for that speeding penalty suffered in stage number 2. Going to clear. He'll put himself at the 8. Galloway will fall down to 9th. Jumping from battle to battle here. Speaking of Gaiman, right there as well. We'll cut on board with him as he's now watching Galloway and Dixon. They've been battling week in and week out, it seems. And they are keeping this battle going. Boone Esports going against the Ford on the high side. Should pull up the driver data here for Gaiman, who sits in 11th. Fast lap of the race by Patrick Oberstadt, who's currently in 24th, but he is multiple laps down. He just set a 30.73 last time by. Worth noting there he is right now. Obviously clean track, so no real threat behind him, but that car is looking relatively competitively clean. Dixon hounds the back of Galloway here, still moving. Gaiman going to try to go low side here of Dixon. Ooh, thinking about trying to get a run there. He's going to be on the inside of Galloway. Still trying to get clear. He will. Put now Gaiman up to 10th. Galloway now down 11th. Withers says, I saw that. I want to have a piece of that if I can. He's going to try to make a move. Ooh, first pit stops of the day. Brandon Roberts is in. Well, I think he's in. Obviously hard to see. He's falling down the tower. I think he may have had a connectivity issue, because we assumed he was coming in. Obviously, Roberts, still no sign of him beating that count, so I think Roberts may have lagged out. But we're now going to cut back to race read regardless. Right now, Wanzing has caught the back of Sears. He's been chipping away at it. We can see a battle for the race lead here between the 14 and the 5. Rivals through many years of A squared. They're having another battle here. Wanzing low side, going to try to make it work here. Sears on the high side. Still side by side, but it looks like Wanzing gets the job done. So Wanzing up to race lead. Sears, though, not going to go away quietly into the night. We know Tom Sears is always lurking, and he's not going to go home without a fight here. So new race leader, the 5, Seth Wanzing. Maybe this is also a bit of play by Sears. Maybe he feels a little bit more fast, fresher. Maybe you want to save a little bit of time and fuel, having a car ahead of him. Obviously, the times will be minuscule in comparison, but still, trying to maybe save a little bit extra fuel. And also, don't keep an eye on Matt Vordon there in 3rd, stage 2 Victor. He's sitting there as well, looking to lurk and maybe just play his cards right here and time it out as well. Make sure we saw in stage 1, he had a good long run car. Maybe it's starting to show its legs here in stage number, the final stage here, as he is beginning to move forward. So keep an eye on this right now. We're going to go back a little bit here. There's Ross Baxter. Hagan has now gotten his car up to 6th. He's about 3 seconds back, so Hagan is not far from done here. I just say keep an eye on him, as he was one of the strongest cars in stage 1 and stage 2, and he was his own worst enemy. And if he can get back up to this pack, he could make this a fight for the victory of the race. Move back up to our race leader now, Seth Wanzing. So we're kind of in the calm before the storm here. Next time by, we'll hit magical lap 100 and have 51 laps here. Matt Fordon, though, wants to make a move here before magical lap 100. As he wants to get around Sears. I think Sears his tires may be shot. However, he does have at least one advantage along with Wanzing. They do have one extra set as they did not take it in stage 2 if we were to get a late race caution. So we've hit lap 50. Mark Dila is in. Looks like it may be scheduled, so looks like at the moment, final pit stop window may have opened. Obviously not fully indicative, as obviously Dila pitted early last time by. Oberstadt also in. So we'll flip that over here as they will hit magical lap 50 here. As well, we have this opportunity. We'll do a quick race recap of where everyone is in just a second as Vordon is about to try to make a move on Sears here for second. Looks like you can do it as smooth as you like. Vordon will now take second position. So we'll do a quick little recap here. Seth Wanzing leads the way. Has yet to find victory this season. Is looking poised to try to get a win here, but has still got a long way to go and one more pit stop. We'll see what he can do here now in position number 1. Matt Vordon, driver that's been proven every so often. And actually, it looks like we'll have to hold that thought. Sears and Kent both in this time by, so window is now officially opened. Not sure. I think there's still one more pit stop to be had here. As we look at the math, no driver was able to push it that long, so I don't think we're in the window yet. So I think everyone's still got one more pit stop, at least on the alarm, because we looked at it last time by. Marshall went the longest. He went to lap 69, lap 70, I believe, and he came in at lap 31. That's about 40 laps, and even then, that's the furthest as you can probably make it, and that was with the help of actually coming in the last lap of a caution, so it is unlikely these drivers will be able to make it. Even I think the drivers that can stay out the longest could put themselves in a better spot, but questions will be arise. But away Sears and Kent go, 4 tires and fuel for both. So we'll go back to our race leader. We'll do the recap a little bit later, because we do want to let the full pit stop window play out here now. Looks like Wanzing is in as well. Does not want to allow Sears to get the uppercut. That will put Matt Vordon to our race leader. Hagen out to second. Baxter in third. So this is where it gets interesting. If you're, again, I just noticed, we know Hagen has some good speed in that machine. That time by, he ran a 31.48, dead even with Baxter, slightly faster than Vordon. But his times are about even, but he was slowly running it down. So this is Hagen's kind of best chance here if he goes long, to use this to his advantage and try to make this work here. You know Wanzing loves the undercut here as he's about to leave the pit lane here. We're just going to keep an eye on the blend, because this could be for what will be our race lead, possibly, when he blends out here. Sears obviously coming through the tri-oval now. We'll go on board with him. See that Valvoline car on the low side, and it's going to be as smooth as you like. Sears will retake lead at the moment, as he will get that 1 lap pressure advantage here. And it looks like Matthew Kent also going to put this a fight here. So undercut worked for Sears. Vordon is in now. So Kent will, Seth Wanzing will fall back to de facto P3 at the moment. Matt Vordon is in now. Obviously, there's still questions about, is another stop still loom? Because we know Marshall went the longest, and if you get under 40, I think you at least have a chance to make it on a final, no more pit stops before Don will hit his box. So John Hagen back up to the race lead. And he is now in as well, so he'll pit with 45 to go. That will put Ross Baxter to the race lead, with Dixon, Pinnell, LaJoy, McDonough, your top 5. Like we did before, we'll keep an eye on Tom Sears here. Keep an eye left of your screen. Vordon is coming out of the box now. It's going to be, again, as smooth as like. Tom Sears will take over the race lead when it's all said and done. The question is, how big will be the gap, and can he hang on to it? Wanzing, who's already got around Matthew Kent while we were watching that, is now going to firmly put himself in second, with Kent now in third. Vordon going to fall that down to P4, with Markowski in fifth. This is where, again, you may have to roll the dice. Hagen, obviously still in pit lane. Keep an eye on the blend here as well for Hagen, as this could be indicative of how much road he will have to make up in his Smeal Racing Designs machine. There goes our de facto race leader in second and third place cars, Kent. There's Verdon. He's going to come out just behind Marshall, and I think get Marshall right there with his cold tires, so he will fall back to what will be 7th at the moment as he'll battle Mike LaJoy here. Brian Dixon will give up the race, the 2nd position. He is now in. So watch John Hagen here going to battle Edward Marshall in just a second. So we're watching a lot of things here unfold. Keeping an eye on this battle here between Marshall and Hagen. Obviously, Marshall still has to pit. Hagen is good at the moment. Obviously, we're not 100% sure if he is good to go to the finish, but we know at the very least he is good to go to a long distance here. So let's recycle here. There's our current race leader, Ross Baxter. If he can go out one more lap here, he will hit 40 laps to go. And I think once he gets under 40, I think there's a reasonable chance here you could make it to the finish here. Obviously, my math could be wrong, and all the drivers could be good, but I'm just going off estimations here from what we saw in Stage 2. Baxter now officially in. Ryan Pinnell will also pit as well here with 41 to go. Will Mike LaJoy stay out? He will. He will come to the line and hit 40 to go here. McDonough will presumably stay out or come on in. Not sure at the moment. It looks like he will stay out as well. Fastest lap of the race for John Hagen, who currently sits in 9th. But we're going to go back up to here. This is our de facto race lead when everyone pits. Sears, Wanzing. Sears went for the undercut by a lap. 2 laps to be exact. Try to make something happen here. Wanzing, though, going to try to challenge suit. You can also see Kent getting hounded by Verdon. Going to keep an eye on both battles if we can, but we do not really have a wide lens, so we're going to have to try to make this work. So as we watch this play out here, Sears still hanging up for now with 39 laps to go, now 38. Don't speak now. John Hagen has joined the fray as he is slowly reeling back in Verdon and Kent here. So we'll show the up-speed graphic. Obviously still LaJoy and McDonough haven't pit yet. And I think the longer they go here, the more likely they will make a one-stop happen here. Or sorry, this will be their last stop. Question is, I think Sears, Wanzing, and Co. are going to have to pit again. The question is, am I right or wrong? But we'll have to do that math later. Wanzing going to try to make a move for the lead of this race. Inside he will go. Can he fully get the job clear? He can. So put Wanzing now up to the race lead. Mike LaJoy has officially pit. So when everyone does pit, Seth Wanzing will be de facto lead of this race along with McDonough. Both of them pit with 38 laps to go. So Sears, Wanzing, Sears your top 2. Further back, Kent hanging on against Matt Verdon. And then you can also see John Hagen in the distance. Question is, we'll do a quick kind of cycle through our top 5 as they're pretty much all on our screens. What this win would mean for every driver on our top 5. Wanzing were to find victory. It would give him maybe the shot in the arm with the playoffs around the corner. Obviously locked in on points. This win could definitely get him some extra bonus points. Tom Sears, obviously a part-time competitor now. If he were to win, it would just be for a pride of victory as he sits in 2nd. Matthew Kent, a driver that's a little bit closer to the line, but still healthy, comfortable. If he were to win, again, would be a shot in the arm. Same for Verdon, as both could use this as momentum going into the playoffs. And then obviously John Hagen, who has had multiple wins this season. This would just be one more ring onto the finger and give him even more of a boost in putting him in the championship favorite. Matt Verdon, Hagen going to try to rip it on the low side. A side-by-side here for 4th place. Where the butterfly effect kind of plays into fact here. Remember, we're talking about the end of Stage 2. If Gaiman were to stay a lap down, Hagen would not be on the lead lap right now. But with it playing out, both Gaiman and Hagen benefited And Hagen using this extra life here to try to get a clear around Vordon. Right on board here with Kent in his gearbox. He's got a pretty good seat. Vordon still hanging tough on that high side, but low side looks usually to prevail. Can that Carolina Tar Heel machine get clear? He can. Put Hagen up the 4th. Now he's going to set his sights on the Bucky's number 15. Methodically picking them off one by one, you could say. Is Hagen going to do something similar? Are we going to get deja vu? I think we will. Hagen going to clear Kent, so now put Hagen up the 3rd. He's now on the podium. Next up, Lurk and Tom Sears here. We saw the picture happen once, twice, and they see it thrice. He's going to get on that corner panel and ride it side by side, heading off into the tri-oval here. And Hagen going to get clear way before he could. So Hagen now up the 2nd in just the span of 2 laps. He is now up the 2nd and sets his sights on our race leader. Kent now going to try to get around Sears. Obviously, again, worth noting as well, they last came in at 1:01 for both Kent and Sears. We knew Sears struggles on the long run here. Vordon, on the other hand, is very strong when it comes to the long run, so he could come to life here as this run continues on. Kent now has, at the moment, the final spot of the podium. So still watching this battle for 3rd here. Kent will hang on at least for now. Now Vordon going to try to get clear here. Get a caution, could also shake this up as well. You got the whole Wanzen crew rooting in chat. We're Seth to hang on here. We'll cut to that battle in just a sec. We want to see this through between Sears and Vordon here. That gap is closing and shrinking quickly. We're going to cut to it now for a second to show you. We're going to cut back to Vordon and Sears here. Just let them finish it out. Vordon will get clear. So 30 laps to go. It's going to be a long time. Last time by, Hagen was faster. 31.28 to a 31.41 was the deficit in lap time. 2/10 advantage for John Hagen. So Wanzing still hanging on. That time by, they were about dead even. And again, still not fully sure if fuel is a question mark for our top drivers. We saw in stage 2, drivers were not able to make it over 40 laps, but I assume if they could have pushed longer, they would have. As we saw the latest runners in both McDonough and, I think it was McDonough and Marshall. Yeah, Marshall came in at 1:16, which is very recent, but McDonough came in at 1:13. So they pushed the longest they could. Question is, are there fuel concerns? As we know, like Mark Dila came in at 99. We saw Matthew Kent come in at 101. Hagen came at 106. Wanzen 103. But we'll have to keep an eye on that for now. Hagen going to try to rip it low side. Champion on champion battle here. 27 laps to go. Hagen going to go low. Wanzen going to cover it off. Oh, Hagen way up the road. First pit stop in. Dila coming in this time by. So, again, maybe one more pit stop looms here. Wanzing hangs on for now. Go on board with the driver of the number 1 in John Hagen. Gonna try to dummy. Go high, go low. Maybe change lines here. Driver takes your line, you got to try to find another line to get that clean air. It did not help out Hagen here. Oh, way low. Cannot allow Wanzing to get in there. He'll have a fender. On the corner panel right now, but Wanzing will shut the door. 25 laps to go, and now Tom Sears is in. So one pit stop does loom for our top runners here. They will have to come in at least one more time. Question is, when will that happen? Wansing, we know, loves the undercut. Hagen usually likes to follow suit. Will Wansing come in earlier here? Looks like Kent maybe thinking about it as we saw him kind of fade in here. The undercut could be what wins you this race if you do it right. Matthew Kent is in this time by. He will pit and will be, besides Tom Sears, the quickest of the runners to come in this time by. We'll stay on what is our de facto race lead at the moment. I said de facto, it is our race lead, I should say. We're going to catch a little lap traffic here. Mike LaJoie at the moment. Could play a factor here. Could be the pick that allows Hagen to make a move. Hagen again on that corner panel, but can't fully get the run off. One more thing to note as well, the longer you go, the bigger your playbook can be as you can take less fuel. We could see Wansing, Hagen, someone else in co take 2 or maybe even no tires. But if you pit early like Tom Sears did, you're committing yourself to a 4-tire stop more than likely to get enough fuel in the machine. Wansing blocking high, low. Hagen going to have his best chance right now on the low side. Side by side off corner here, but Hagen can't get it to stick. Wansing survives the barrage. Matt Vordon in for 3rd. You're staying on this battle as this is getting pretty entertaining here just to show you what's up the road here. He's going to have some traffic and some other things playing in tow. Hagen. They're going to keep an eye on strategies as well for fuels and tire for the guys in the top 5 here. Hagen going to have another move here on low side. This time he's going to be more daring. Oh, it kicks out again. That's going to overcorrect into the wall. Heavy damage for Hagen. That could take him out of contention. It bit once, he saved it. It bit twice, and it can be heavily damaged. We'll see in a second. No toe links are broken, but he is definitely wounded, and that may take him out of contention of this race. Now, if you're a Wansing fan, his main rivals are his main competitors that were on differing strategies. That is just giving a lifeline to Wansing, who is now officially coming in. Worth noting, Matthew Kent came out ahead of Tom Sears, and he took 4 tires. Matt Vordon took 2 tires, so he will be, at the moment, the driver that could jump Wansing, basing on strategy. Hagen also in. And remember, we still have some drivers that may try to save this fuel and make it work. So Josh Gaiman at the moment will cycle with the lead with 20 to go. He will have to pit one more time. Blake Galloway in second. We are going to keep an eye on Wansing and see what he does. Does he take 2? Does he take 4? Jack's up for 2. He wants 4. That's going to allow Vordon here as he comes off of 4 to get the job done. Now the question is, what will be the gap? Vordon clear there. You see Wansing way off into the distance. He's going to leave loose first. Now he's also going to go down to second as Matthew Kent is also going to get around as well. I think is Edward Marshall too. Yep, he will get his along with Tom Sears. So with that 4-tire call, Wansing wants the grip, and he thinks he can run it down here on 4. Cut back to our race leader, who's currently Blake Galloway, with Josh Gaiman pitting. Galloway going out the longest. Now this is where I was talking about strategies maybe playing a factor here. Right now, out of our top runners ahead right now, as Matthew Kent also unlaps himself, worth noting as well, so if the caution were to come out, that would be beneficial to him along with Vordon. But this is where it gets interesting. Looking at last pit stop reports, Galloway came in at 103. He's not going to have a chance to make this. Pennell and LaJoie both came in at 110 and 113 respectively. Could be within a shout for LaJoie to maybe make that number work. Same thing with Pennell. So there's Ryan Pennell right now. Mike LaJoie sitting in 3rd. Obviously, LaJoie was at risk getting put a lap down, so he may be the worst behind the 8 ball here, as he sits here right now coming off of 4. For reference, Matthew Kent sits about half a corner away on fresher tires, along with Matt Vordon, who's actually, I think, passed. Yeah, he has not passed yet, but is at least chasing down Mike LaJoie. Blake Galloway is in. He will give up the race lead. He will come on in. Ryan Pennell will cycle out. The SAP Wansing fans at home just set the fastest lap of the race. 30.71 last time by with 17 to go. You're going to stay on this for now, as obviously Pennell, if he were to make it work, as he came in at 110, he'd have to find 40 laps of fuel, which is doable. Just want to put that in perspective. He theoretically, I think, could maybe do it. Question of could and will are two different things. We'll go on board with the driver of the 12. On camera, that's the one we're looking for. We're going to pull up his driver data just to see, is he lifting? Is he coasting? Let's listen in right now and see what he's doing. We'll do a side-by-side lap with Pennell, and then we'll pull up our race, de facto race leader for everyone pits, and we'll watch their times and use it in comparison. So we'll do another listen here. He's dropping at about 130, high 140s right now, as he's trying to make that fuel economy work. Also, Mike LaJoie a little bit, got a few extra laps to tank, but he's more than likely going to get caught here in due time. We'll now ride on board here with Matt Fordon, who, if both cars were to pit, he would be our race leader. And actually, we'll take a look at it in just a second as the battle is shaping up here for the battle for, I believe, what will be third. When it's actually second, I should say, when it plays out. Wanzing trying to run down Kent here. 14 to go. Fordon is about 3.5 seconds up the road here, so if you're a Wanzing fan or a Kent fan, you're going to have to get the giddy up on if you want to chase him down. One advantage, though, is Wanzing went later, Kent went earlier than Fordon, so we'll see if those play out here. Ooh, Mike LaJoie just got passed by Fordon here, just to show you on record. There he goes, so that will pretty much put LaJoie out of a chance of winning this race on fuel economy, even if he does have the numbers. Actually, we'll take this opportunity while we watch this to go on board with Wanzing, pull up his data here just to see what he's hitting in the corners, to see if Pennell is really trying to save this. His times don't show me he's trying to save. As you see, he drops down to about 150, about the same speed, so I don't know if Pennell has the economy at the moment. But Wanzing still holds charge. So as we watch this battle here play out, we're going to cut away just for a second to do a little cleaning up of the homework. 12 laps to go. Ryan Pennell is still leading this race. 15 seconds is the gap between him and Matt Fordon. If Pennell pits, Fordon is going to be our de facto race leader at the moment. Then you got Mike LaJoie in third, maybe trying to clutch and save this. About 16 seconds back of a race leader. Unlikely to take the win with strategy like this, but maybe just trying to get a top 5 out of it. Then you got Matthew Kent, who would be de facto P2 if both Pennell and LaJoie pit, with Seth Wanzing in third, about 17 seconds back online. Worth noting, Fordon took 2, Kent and Wanzing both took 4. Will that be the nail that maybe hurts both Kent and Wanzing's chances of finding victory here tonight? Other than that, you got Tom Sears and Ross Baxter in game the next 3 spots, but obviously all 3 of them outside top 5. Not noteworthy at the moment, but we'll keep an eye on their times. Worth noting, though, looking at times, Fordon was the fastest out of the 3 cars that came into pit, so I would almost say that they may need a caution to try to get this bunch back up. But we'll keep an eye on this battle as they will now catch Mike LaJoie here and try to get up to 3rd and 4th respectively. Back up to who is our current race leader, Ryan Pennell. If he can save this, the gap is big enough, and you can see he is really lifting down these straights. If he can make this economy work, Ryan Pennell coming in tonight was 15th in the standings, but not healthily in. If he can find this fuel and punch his ticket, it would be his first win in A-squared competition, and at the same point, would be a salute to lock him in the playoffs, but looks at the moment he will not hit it. So all that is for naught. Pennell is in, will not hit the economy. That will promote Matt Fordon to our race leader. When all said is done, the gap will be about 3 seconds from Fordon to Kent. see right there by the graphic, now Vordon takes the race leader, Rookie of the Year. I believe he is still in the top spot of the Rookie of the Year contention. 3 seconds is the gap with 7 to go. Does Kent or Wanzing, can they make these 4 tires work? Again, at the very least, which will confirm the points real fast. But I think neither driver, yep, Kent right now is about, I believe, 44 above the line. Except Wanzing up to 163 or 83 if I'm reading this right. So Wanzing doesn't need this win per se, it would just be a shot in the arm. Kent, this could be helpful if he were to find victory. And looking at the times, they've closed a little. Not enough that they will catch Vordon at the pace they're going, but it has fallen at least a little here. But Vordon has also caught some traffic. You can see right there's Bren Roberts and there's Tommy Withers. This time by, though, the interval will be 5 laps to go here. As Vordon clears traffic, we'll go on board with the driver of the 00. Just to show you what he's got up through his windshield. He's got the 43, and I think that's Colin McDonough just up the road there. 2 cars of traffic, and it's pretty much smooth sailing. I think it's also Brian Johnson further up, but unlikely he will catch. Speak what this win will mean for Vordon. Vordon was 1 point behind Matthew Kent coming into the night. Obviously, it's not set in stone yet. Gap is 2.23. Obviously, with this battling, caution could fly. But if Vordon were to hold on, it would punch his ticket. It wouldn't change the line. The line would still be either Battles or Markowski. However, it would be a sweat off the back of Vordon, who would have his ticket punched. Would not have to worry going into Talladega next week to make the playoffs, even though he looked probably poised to do it anyway. Coming this time by, 2 laps to go. Kent has brought it down to 1.9 seconds. He is coming. But it's still, at the moment, not fast enough. Traffic is actually working their way around that 00. If you're Vordon, you're just letting the traffic have what they want, give them their lines, and just telling them, please keep it straight for at least another lap and some change. As Vordon comes around here to finish up the last corner, he will see the white flag, so this race will be official one way or the other. 1 lap to go here at Kentucky. Vordon trying to hang on here. Again, Vordon had one of the biggest climbs here, has qualified just out inside the top 10, has driven the wheel off this thing. 1 stage 2, and his 2-tire gambit is going to be the difference. Vordon, a regular in the iOctane series, has had a good rookie season, but now he can join the likes of rookies who won in their first campaign. Vordon, your winner here at Kentucky for the Bluegrass 240. He will take victory. Matthew Kent will come home second, and Seth Wanzing will bring it home in third. Again, a tip of the hat to Vordon in that My Little Pony scheme. Very odd sponsor, to say the least. Kent will give a congratulatory little bump there. And obviously Vordon driving for SRD, so SRD will end up getting the victory anyway. Usually not the car you think would pilot it to victory, but Smil Racing Designs will take victory again here tonight on the backs of Matt Vordon. So as we watch Vordon here, remember, do not go anywhere. We'll have top 3 interviews in just a moment. Chris Fleming also looks like he'll come in and give a little congratulatory bump. But your race winner, Matt Vordon, clinches his seat at the playoffs, and he will not have to worry about next week. He is in. And it's going to be a lot less stress for him as he has won here at Kentucky. Let's see if we can get a little close here and listen to those burn downs here, but Again, when the going gets tough, we've seen this season in, season out. David Wright, 2 seasons ago, winning at Richmond. Last season, I believe it was Kevin Feemster, had a great charge at Talladega. Stefan Oberstedt, one of the two, had a good run and pulled the ticket in and got themselves into the playoffs off a great run. And now Matt Verdon, even though he was in the playoffs, I would say good chance he would make it anyway. But he doesn't have to worry about it now, as he'll give himself a good momentum charge and could be a dark horse for the playoffs. So as we wait for the drivers to cycle on in here, we'll hear our top 3 in just a second as they all get in. We'll give them just 1 second to get situated, as we'll also make sure all our audio is good too here. We'll go with a race winner, then we'll go second, and then we'll go third. But we'll hear from our race winner in just a second here. As actually, while we wait, give him 1 more second to talk, we'll take a quick look at our top 10 one more time, and then we'll do our interviews here. So we'll pull that off the screen. That's the wrong button. That's the button we're looking for. So Verdon, Kent, Wansing, LaJoy, Sears, Baxter, Gaming, Fleming, Galloway, and Dixon will be your top 10. We'll go over the full results after the interviews, but we'll let the top 14 show on the screen here as we let them have the last second word. So it looks like everyone is good to go here, and we'll hear from our race winner first. Matt, this is Kevin the A-Ben Booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Obviously, you had it come a long time coming to find victory, and you have found it, but we'll have to start at the very beginning to start this off. So qualifying, your car looked all right. You qualified top 10, but it seemed like your car was definitely good in the long run. So what was your secret to finding the most pace when it mattered the most on the long runs?
Yeah, so qualifying was a botch job. I was 2/10 faster in practice, so I just overdrove it. But on long runs, for a reason on this track, I'm no good on 1.5s, but on this one specifically, the middle lane comes in fairly early, and really the key is just really easing it into the corners and not. It's really hard on the right front, and if you're early to get the car set, I was throttling up maybe a full second earlier than some people, and just getting those runs, just make your turn and point it down the straight, and worked out really good for tire wear and speed.
Mm-hmm. Stage 1, you obviously climbed your way up quite nice. You got yourself, I believe, in the top 5. And then Stage 2, Hagen gets busted for speeding up pit lane. And then it's a battle between you and, I believe, Wansing for the last Stage 1 2 honors. So take us through that battle coming to Stage 2 and finding Stage 2 victory.
Yeah, so I knew Seth was fast, but
oh, sorry, it was you and Sears. Sorry, I forgot. It was you and Sears battling for the final stage. So again, sorry, continue on, but it was you and Sears battling for Stage 2 honor. So my mistake, but continue on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Stage 2 run was, in practice, I knew 2 tires, the vehicle felt fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't run like a full length on that second set. So it did get pretty loose there at the end of the race, but for that stage, the car felt great. And I just, those guys they burned their stuff up pretty fast, and I just walked by them.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fairly easy run for that.
Mm-hmm.
And a good setup for, the final leg of the race.
Mm-hmm. Looking onward to that final stage, speaking of you saving your stuff, I was going to ask, you were probably playing maybe a little bit of possum, just knowing you got to save your stuff, and you knew that money stop was coming. So we talked about, obviously, you taking the lessons you learned from that second stage, taking 2 tires. Were you thinking anyone else was going to take 2? But when you cleared out and you were, a smooth sailing ahead, were you worried anything else was going to happen? Or when you realized I had a 3-second gap, tires feel fine, you think it was smooth sailing coming to head when you realized your main competitors took 4?
I came out of the pits
Mm-hmm.
in front of them, and my teammate told me that they had taken 4,
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, why am I in front of them? And he said they took 4 tires, and I said, wow, that was the wrong move.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe they let me win.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like there was definitely a major difference between 4 and 2 tires there. At the end, they were obviously moving and catching me, but it was seconds. It was the gap was 2 seconds or so, and I was 4 seconds faster on my pit stop. So it just mathed out that way. I honestly couldn't believe they took 4.
Yeah, sometimes weird things happen, but it worked to your advantage, and it definitely played out. So looking onward, obviously next week, Talladega. Obviously, you winning here tonight, your seat at the table's locked. You do not have to worry about the playoffs. You are in the playoffs now, so congratulations. But looking onward, going to Talladega now, does that change your mindset a little? Obviously, you still want to win, but maybe instead of playing it safe, make sure you get good points. Are you going to be more aggressive to make sure you find that checker flag? Maybe you'll be more loyal to your teammates, try to get another one in. How has your mindset changed now, knowing that you got now locked to the playoffs with your win here tonight?
I go out and set my little goals, like top 10 or top 5, depending on how I'm feeling during the race. Talladega, any super speedway, Daytona, they're all dice rolls. So the only thing I ever set a goal for on those races is to finish. So if I cross the finish line on the lead lap, I did pretty good. Being in the top 5 or pushing someone, or maybe someone pushing me to victory, even better. That's great. But I don't try to set too many goals on the dice rolls there.
Fair enough. Anyway, we gotten to the point of the show. Does anyone want to thank family, friends, sponsors, what have you? Floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, I love to thank the lovely wife. I could hear her in the other room cheering. Friends and family watching the race that support me. Team SRD, Hagen, everybody on our team there. Brian Johnson, great to have in comms and motivation. Yeah, appreciate you putting on the broadcast there, and hopefully I'll be in this booth a little more often.
Hopefully as well. You put good drives in the high octane series, so it's definitely good to see you putting that performance out here in the next gens. But regardless, enjoy your race victory. We'll probably hopefully talking for the end of the year. But regardless, take care. Have a good rest of your week.
Thank you. You too, brother.
And that was our race winner, Matt Vordon, who takes home victory here tonight. And that will move us on nicely to our second place finisher. And we'll hear from him now, the man of the Buc-ee's machine, Matthew Kent. We'll hear him now. Matthew, this is Kevin the A-Band Booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you. How you doing?
Doing good as well. Obviously, you, again, had a decent qualifying as well. And I asked Vordon this question, and I'll ask you the same as well. Your car really seemed to come to life throughout the run here tonight. So what was the secret to get that car competitively fast as the run continued to go on?
Yeah, I was just kind of backing up the corners. There are some good marks on this track to kind of gauge yourself off of, especially in 3 and 4. If you could avoid, sliding in the middle of the corner, you really saved the right sides and especially the right rear. Was able to get better drive to go down through. Everyone was pretty equal down in 1 and 2, no matter which way you kind of approached it. But 3 and 4, where the entry marks were and how you used your brake and the line you kind of took through there, was kind of the real selling point on if you had the short or long run speed.
And obviously saving your stuff definitely played out by using that long road. Moving onward, obviously first, second stage, you put some good runs, got some good stage points. We saw Hagen have a little bit of trouble, and that pretty much opened the door. So going to that final stage, we talked to Vordon what his kind of plan was. What was your plan going to that final stage? What was the mindset going into it? Because we saw you kind of laying back, maybe a little bit like him, like Vordon, not overly challenging. So what was the mindset in that final stage, and what was going on in your head there?
Well, I mean, coming from stage 2 where, me and Seth all had to recover from, Gaiman's mishap on the restart. So the whole second stage we were playing recovery. We got back to even, I think, to start that stage 3, and then it was just about hitting the strategy right. And I was, I believe, first to pit on both starts of the cycle because we knew the one stop wasn't going to work. So getting there and then being consistent in those early to mid runs was kind of leaping track position. I think Hagen had his pit road issue. I leapt Seth on the second one, and then he couldn't get back to me. And that was kind of the approach to stage 3, was cut it in thirds, execute on and off pit road, and then be consistent because the early speed in the run was going to leapfrog positions.
Looking further on, obviously we saw you come for your final pit stop. You took 4. Obviously Wanzing also took 4, and Vordon took 2. Obviously 4 wasn't the right call per se here at the end of the day, but if you could roll it back, would you have tried 2, or did you feel like 4 was the thing that gave you the most grip to make it work?
No, 4 was the play. He did a really good job getting on and off pit road and with the 2 tire, and even he said, that thing was starting to become a handful in the last 10 laps, and that's when I started eating into the lead. The first couple laps off pit road, I got bogged down with a couple, whether it was miscalculations or a little tomfoolery, just bogged down behind a couple cars. It cost me probably, 4/10 to a full second of track time. Otherwise, I might have been there at the end, but at the end, he stayed consistent enough with the 2 tires to hold out the lead, and ultimately, 15.1 for my stop and 10.4 for his, and that was the difference in the race.
Yep, sometimes can always come to that just on pit lane. That's why the virtual crews earn their virtual money. Looking onward, obviously going in, obviously with a great result here. Obviously, we'll see how the map plays out, but I would say you're pretty much close to locked in, or at the very least locked in on points to the playoffs. Obviously, we'll see how the cookie crumbles. But looking at Talladega next week, does your mindset change a little bit? That at the very least, are you still going to go for the checkered flag? Or are you going to make sure that that car comes in one piece and you don't bleed points just in case the worst comes to worst?
I think the way this race turned out with pretty much point sealing myself in, it gave me the buffer I was going for. That lets me just run normal at Dega. I'm not overly aggressive. I know you got to get the car there at the end to win the race or even to have good finishes, especially without the fast repair, depending on how they decide on that. But I'm not overly aggressive. I'm going to ride around, find myself in a good position, and try to come away with good points. But today was the big day of making sure that the buffer was large enough to the cut line that if something were to go way wrong, that I'd be okay going into 2 weeks from now.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to play that strategy, and obviously tonight is going to give you a different playbook heading into Talladega. We got into the point of the show. Didn't want to thank family, friends, sponsors, what have you. Floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, great to get the Bucky's machine back on some TV time and in the interview room. Thanks to ARCS and A Squared for continuing on. No matter where it starts or where it finishes, it's always been a great community to be a part of. Thanks to the ABN crew for coming out and putting on good shows, and then thanks to obviously family and friends. I got my little one sitting behind me, watched the whole race, so he's getting into the race car stuff. But other than that, just glad to be here and having a good time with it.
Yep, great talking to you as well. Obviously glad the little one enjoyed the show, and obviously enjoy the rest of your week. Hopefully we'll be talking for the season's end, but hopefully at the end of Talladega we can be seeing you fighting for a championship in the round of 16. But regardless, take care, have a good rest of your week.
Thanks, and gig 'em.
And that was Matthew Kent, our second place finisher, leaving us just one left. He had a big gaggle of his supporters in the chat. Still P3, nothing to sneeze at. We'll hear from Seth now. Seth, this is Kevin the ABN booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Kevin, I got you.
Obviously, again, maybe not the finish you were looking for, but still a great result regardless. But we'll have to start at the beginning again. Obviously, out of the runners, your car qualified front row, so your car seemed the most on rails, at least compared to the top 3 by qualifying standards. So I've asked Kent this question. I asked for Don. What was your secret to getting this car competitively around Kentucky?
Just throttle control and being able to run where the other car wasn't as far as dirty air goes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't drive these things within 4/10 behind somebody. That's what kind of cost me. Besides my own mistake on the last run there, I got to Kent and just couldn't drive through the dirty air anymore. So stalled out in third. Probably, I don't know. Hagen was pretty quick, but I think on equal tires, I think I was right there with them, if not maybe a skosh better for the first time in forever. So really, really fast car. Just got bit by the strategy bug, and but it's nice to be fast. Lead laps. Feel like I had the fastest car. Feel like I could do some things that others couldn't. Especially middle of a run in 3 and 4, and then early in the race, I don't know if the track changed. I don't know if it got too cold, where it's gripped up down there in 1 and 2 with the sun and the shade. It probably cooled it down to where early in the race, when the sun was out, you could kind of drive through dirty air. But at the end of the race, even if you got with even 4/10 of somebody, you couldn't follow them. It's to be expected. It's just frustrating for it to switch when it mattered most, but. Overall, yeah, just being able to set your car up, especially in 3 and 4, that's the key corner to getting around here. Because 1 and 2 is one groove. you can't do anything in 1 and 2. So.
Looking onward, obviously we've got to talk about that incident with Game and coming to the start of stage 2. Obviously Kent was involved in it, and you were as well. Obviously you were right behind Gaiman, so we do got to ask. We saw you come in the pit and it put you behind the 8 ball. Was there any damage to that machine? Any major damage that may have played a factor, or is the car pretty much left unscathed, or very minor damage that could easily be fixed?
About 25 seconds worth of damage. I thought it was a lot worse than what it was, but everything was fixed. Yeah, he just tried to go first gear start and spun the tires right in front of me, and I had nowhere to go. So, yeah, that really set me back, and I really would have liked to seen what I was like up front compared to John, because he had, I don't know, 5, 6 lap fresher tires than me when he caught me there on that great battle towards the end of the race. And I was still able to hold him off, um, you know. But so I would have liked to kept my track position, and that took up all of stage 2 and a little strategy to get back up front. But once we were back in some cleaner air, the car was a rocket ship all day. So.
Looking onward, obviously we saw you come back, recover nicely. Then you had your battle with Hagen. So it was kind of a two-part question here. One, your thoughts on your battle with Hagen there with 30, 25 to go. It looked like you were two having a good battle. And then secondly, when you came in for the final pit stop, we saw you take 4. Obviously, Kent took 4. Verdon took 2. If you could run it back, do you think you would have took 2 there? Or as we heard from Kent, Verdon was really struggling. So even if it wasn't maybe the right call, it was probably the better choice to take 4. So I guess your battle with Hagen, and also would you have taken 2 if given another opportunity?
Yeah, the battle with Hagen was really fun. I mean, the car was fast, and he had 5, 6 lap fresher tires, and he's also the best driver in the series and the fastest car every week. So I wasn't shocked he got to my bumper. Um, and then he ran me super clean. I was able to hold him off. I was really just aero blocking the best I could because you have to. I'd rather not race that way, but you got to do what you got to do. And was able to hold him off, and I think he got on the bottom of me with 20, coming to 20 to go, and just got loose there in that middle lane. He gassed it up too early, and glad he didn't left hook me either. But yeah, and then looking back, I mean, I should have pitted sooner than coming to. I think I pitted with 20 to go. I should have pitted sooner, but when you're caught up in a battle with John, I knew that Matt had pit. I didn't, or Kent. I noticed that Matt Kent had pit. I didn't see Vorndron pit. Um, and then as soon as John wrecked, I realized the situation I was in. I honestly didn't get onto pit road very well. That's probably one of my only weaknesses nowadays, besides just getting faster. Um, so I didn't get onto pit road very well. I didn't get my brakes set right. I was probably a click or two too high on the brake bias there towards the end of a run with hot right front camber, and so car drifted up a little bit, and then it's hard to be aggressive once you're already cutting back down. Could I have took 2? I mean, me and Tom Sears took fuel only during the second stage and came out and really held ground. The fall off after about 20 laps kind of stagnated there as long as you took decent care of it. So I probably should have. To be looking back on it, it probably would have won me the race. I still only came out like 3 seconds behind Matt, and I thought tires were gonna matter there. And I got by Sears and Ed pretty easy, but that still took some time and some off his lead to where he's built lead back up. And then I got to Kent, and he did a good job aero blocking and just running where I was. And the 3 and 4 had really heated up there, so I couldn't do what I was doing different than everybody else down in 3 and 4 really anymore. So Matt was able to creep away. He was struggling. So looking back, yeah, I wish I would have done it all different. But if I pit early there, you got the fastest driver in the field right with you. He's probably going to come right with me. So, um, you know, but it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it now. Just hold my head high and know that I had a fast race car. And it stings. Haven't won in a long time. I think we're going on 2 years now. So, at least in A squared anyway. But we'll go on to Talladega, where I'm usually pretty good at plate tracks. I just end up getting dumped with 5 to go. But we'll move on there and just keep working hard and just, hope that we keep making gains like we did tonight.
Well, we'll see how it all works out in Talladega. But regardless, you obviously your heavy point deficit to the line. You have pretty much locked yourself in the playoffs. So we'll see how it goes next week at Talladega. But we've gotten to the point of the show. Does anyone want to thank family, friends, sponsors to have you? Floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, I want to thank Midwest Barbecue, Hooray Grills, County Beverage in Lee Summit, Missouri, Anheuser-Busch, and everybody that's chipped in or helped out. Larry Moody with the chassis, and then I want to thank my awesome family watching back at home, and my beautiful girlfriend watching tonight as well. I appreciate their support, and I think I had a couple buddies tuned in tonight too. So always appreciate everybody's support. Thank you, Kevin and ABN, for broadcasting us every week, and thanks to all of our drivers and the rest of our admin team, along with me here in A2, that make everything possible.
Well, it's been great talking to you, Seth. Obviously, enjoy the rest of your week, and obviously, we'll see you coming strong soon. Hopefully, we'll talk to you again. But regardless, take care. Have a good rest of your week.
Thank you, Kevin.
And that was our third place finisher, Seth Wansing. And with that, our interviews have officially closed. So we'll take one more quick look at the final results, and we will get on out of here. So I'll pull that interview thing off the screen. And you'll see again, we'll now properly go through it. Matt Verdon, Matthew Kent, Seth Wansing take the 3 steps of the podium here. And as we move further on down the line, Mike LaJoy in 4th. Tom Sears rounds out the top 5. Good to see Sears back in this series. And overall, very good to see him back. Hopefully, again, we see him one more time before the season ends. Also, want to give a shout out to Mike LaJoy. He did the one stop. He did the no stop, and it worked. Didn't get him the victory, but he still got a top 5. And being a driver, that again, near that line, just to quickly pull up the points again to show you, yeah, only being 24 above the line, this is just what the doctor ordered for Mike LaJoy. Tom Sears, 5th. Ross Baxter, 6th. Josh Gaiman, 7th. Chris Fleming, 8th. Blake Galloway, 9th. Brian Dixon rounds out the top 10. Speaking of drivers that needed good runs, Mark Howski with 11th here should close up the gap to Joshua Battles. So we'll see how close that is going into next week. Moving further down the grid, we got, should finish up the top 11 there. Colin McDonough, Mark Dila, and Ethan Wood rounding out the top 14. Then you got Ryan Pinnell, last car to finish on the lead lap. Tried to push it long, but just hope for a caution didn't work. Withers first, 1 down, along with Brendan Roberts, 16th, 17th. Chris Burton, 18th. Mike Lawrence, 19th. Brian Johnson, 20th. Josh Battles, 21st. Kevin Feemser needed a better result than that, 22nd. Edward Marshall, 23rd. And John Hagan finishes 24th, first of the retirements. Oberstadt, Adams, and Cody will be the last of the runners, with Holland and Pinnell not taking the start. Obviously, Holland not, being the steward, and Pinnell not finishing as well. So anyway, that will do it here for tonight. Obviously, like we alluded to, next week is the final round before we start the playoffs. Talladega, the last restrictor plate of the season. The last pretty much wild card these drivers will have. For some, it could be the Hail Mary that comes up clean. For others, it could be the day that you don't want to be, the date with the devil. We'll find out what happens next week. Tune in at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for that to see what plays on, who will be the 16 drivers fighting for a championship. But until then, it's been great talking to you all. My name is Kevin Young. It's been a pleasure, and hope we catch you there next week. But regardless, everyone take care. Have a good rest of your evening.